to like 1910 or something like that. In between that little span, maybe a 15-year window or something. Anybody can go and get on and get in where they fit in. That's not my problem. My problem is that you took my whole history from in front of me. You saturated me with the U.S. Department of Education. I can prove what the New York City School District did. There's different things that I know for sure that they have to pay for.
So if Black American Indians were here before, say, the Native Americans, and then why would you have to get acceptance from them? Why would
I don't.
Well, you were saying like to go.
They don't receive us well, but then again, there's also a lot of white people that have pretended for a very long time. After the Civil Rights Act, let's face it, they have put in different people to keep so-called Black folks distracted. Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, Lyndon Johnson, they completely knew who the people were, right? What happened was they broke down the churches, and an Indian tribe is technically a community or an organization. So the Native Americans are not kinship to the Powhatan Confederation. What they got going on has nothing to do with what happened to me and my history. They have no part of it. They don't get to criticize. They don't need to accept me. I don't have to worry about nothing. I'm not related to Sitting Bull. I don't have to worry about none of that. Right. I need to worry about what happened to me and mine, and I know exactly where we were at. And there's a whole bunch of us that know exactly where our people were at, what they were doing, who they related to, what treaties they were attached to, who their cousins are, who got the same grandmother as them. So whether or not you find something that says that you're Indian, they should have called you that, and they didn't. And that's also in congressional record. These laws were changed for us. It had nothing to do with any of the Native Americans over there. Now, my chocolatey colored Indian relatives that were just recently recognized during the Trump administration, right? In Virginia, the Thomasina E. Jordan tribes, there's still a situation with them because they have also had foreigners come in, right? And now they are also not thinking that the average Joe that moved to New York 6-7 decades ago, their grandkids is going to come back like, what happened? Ain't your grandma's cousin? Grandma's related to this one. So there's issues with everybody. I don't want to make it an issue with all Native Americans. If I'm not even fighting with my tribe, I have the right now to go and join the Monacan Nation. That's not what I'm looking for. And it wasn't looking for me neither. Right? I don't have anything against them, but I know for a fact that there's a different thing there, and I feel more secure knowing that I could stand on exactly what it is that I need to stand on. We still don't have the same beef because they don't know what I went through not being able to be a part of the tribe because of the colorism and some of the things that they have done as well.
Let me ask you this. So you are aware then that the Black American, well, not Black American, but the Black American Indian tribes are not recognized by the government, right?
Some of them, not all of them. Some of them. And recently,
what Black tribes are recognized by the tribe?
You have the Thomasina. I don't want to say Black tribes because there's still so many people that were detribalized, denationalized a very long time ago, and they have to find themselves. So they're not going to be a part of anything until they look in on the records and find out who it is that they can to. So we can't even count them, right? But for me, I have every opportunity to go and join the Monacan Nation right now. So that's not going to solve all of my problems. That is only going to make me a part of a membership. I'm a member of BJ's too, but I don't feel that special. You understand what I'm saying? So it's not that important to be attached in that capacity. Everybody now is citizens. The American Indian has been a citizen since 1924. So at this point, what we need to do, we have some political things that have to happen. Indians regulate, along with Indians, regulate commerce. Not all these other foreign nations. We haven't been acting as that. Native Americans do not and cannot regulate commerce.
Now let me talk to you about that. So when we're talking about being able to regulate commerce, do you have a sovereign nation?
No. What we can have is a sovereign nation through these descendants. We are related to the same people that got a lot of these people, these tribes. And then keep in mind, a lot of these tribes are not going to be here long because they have been lying. They've been forging records. Look at what happened in Alabama. I don't know if people are aware of what's been going on, but 27 states are under investigation. They've been forging documents saying that they avoided the Trail of Tears by hiding in caves. These people have been making up so many different stories. A lot of our money that we haven't been getting. Everybody knows about Section 8. We have been finding the boogeyman in a lot of different places. And the Fair Housing Act, people want to call the Civil Rights Act the Fair Housing Act. That's fine, because it certainly wouldn't apply to who? Native Americans, would it? Would they need to come off the reservation and get a hotel room? Mm-hmm. When were they getting redlined and couldn't find an apartment or buy a house?
So
get a hamburger at Woolworth.
So you are an American and you are subject to American law.
I am. I am.
All right. So
and I enjoy the rights as an American citizen.
You're an American citizen.
That is correct.
So from a nationality perspective, you are an American citizen. From a ethnic perspective, however, you consider yourself to be what?
An ethnic, I am Chickahominy and Poor Monkey.
Chickahominy and Poor Monkey. So now, how did these other Native American tribes who came after you become?
I'm not saying that they existed, but it wasn't, the burden of proof wasn't for me to study them. Had I found relativity to them, I would have looked a little more. The only time I'm gonna be honest with you is when I go in those places is just to debunk stuff, because I know about families and how they move and where people's folks been. Right. You know what I'm saying? If you give me names of the people in your family, I could tell you where your grandparents came from.
Yeah,
where at in America.
Yeah, what I'm asking. So how did these tribes that came after you get recognized as sovereign tribes by the federal government with, their own land, their own, law, being able to build these casinos, et cetera, et cetera? How are they able to achieve that, and then you guys were not?
Most of the casinos are funded by foreigners. That is not government money. They have investors. They've also taken those lands that were put in trust, and a lot of them have to move now. I don't know if anybody has been following the Murphy decision, but there's going to be a lot of people that have to move. And that's just in Oklahoma, and a lot of that land is going to be going to American Indians. There's going to be a lot of occupiers that have been there that are certainly going to have to move. So there's going to be lots of changes when it comes down to that aspect in the near future. I don't think it's going to apply to Black people because they're not looking at that particular facet of it that I've seen outside of our community. They don't look at what's going on pertinent to them and what can make them better. And I'm telling you now, public Indian housing is not for Native Americans. There's so many things that we are entitled for, but they've been coded under what our history, our ancestry should tell us, not what necessarily people may have preferred to have been called. And that's it, and that's all. You have people that are misclassified. Also, you have a lot of American Indians that were misclassified as white.
So, we've all, as people like myself who consider ourselves to be Black American, we all have heard the stories. Everybody say they got an Indian in their family. Oh, my grandmama had straight hair. She had high cheekbones. We all say that. And I'm going back to Dr. Gates, because Dr. Gates, he talked about this in his lectures, saying that most of us don't have Native American ancestry. Most of us are probably somewhere between 80% African and 20% European. What do you think about that?
Well, I can tell him he certainly doesn't know Okay. And I don't know what he's basing that off, but he's not basing that on the records, because in specific places, it depends on where you're from. And I focus primarily on the 13 colonies. And again, I have been able to study the Caribbean to a point where I can at least find what you folks were doing in the 1800s. I didn't, I don't have a lot of time to go that far. Maybe I'll be able to take a sabbatical and be able to specialize a little more in that. But as far as these 13 colonies is concerned, I have so much European ancestors, it's not even funny. I know where they came from. Again, when you are kinfolk to the first people here, right? What else is, how much more European ancestry do you have